What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rock star agent in your market. And we've got a doozy of an episode for you today. I don't know why I said doozy. Apparently it's 1945. But we've got a great episode for you today because we're talking about how to scale up a buyer-based business, which we have not talked about really on the show. I've only heard one other person even go into this topic. Most shows and most podcasts really talk down to the people who want to focus on buyers and essentially tell them, too bad, you need to turn into a listing agent if you really want to have a successful, sustainable business. But our guest disagrees, and we're going to talk about why that is, and we're going to get into some really, really cool stuff about how to scale up and how to work with more buyers without driving yourself insane. So, Greg, my illustrious colleague, the junior grandmaster himself, is in the co-pilot seat. You enjoy working with buyers. What's up today?
What up, Josh? Josh. I'm looking
Josh.
I'm looking at a name on my screen.
Doesn't even know where he is.
Wow. 3 years in, Greg. Appreciate it. Love you too, buddy.
Oh, sorry, Matt. Oh, that's funny. Dude, I'm having an awesome day, dude. I'm freezing my freaking tail feathers off. It is pouring rain out my window. And it is just like we were talking about in the pre-show, like it's that bone-chilling cold. Like it just gets in there and just won't get out. But besides that, it's been a really good day. I've been, just kind of going through my follow-ups and doing those calls, and, very regrettably, but I'm doing them, and I'm finding some incredibly awesome people that are thanking me for calling, appreciate it, followed me back up here. I found 2 buy-sell leads today, so a potential 2 deals. But then again, I mean, it happens to all of us. I had this one couple that they're just a fucking dumpster fire of a disaster. But they decided to sell one of their two properties, and they didn't even call me. And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I literally asked them. I almost asked them well, what the heck, dude? No call. But I decided to ask more tactfully. And no matter when you guys have those losses on days, I asked them, did I do something to offend you? I would love to have had the opportunity to interview for that position. Did I do something? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. Can I ask why? Not even a call after we've worked together? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. He's like, my next door neighbor, she's an agent. And I'm like, epic. I got fucking, overlooked because they moved to another house, and the person next door, happened to be an agent. And I'm like, so what's your name? I might know her. He's like, good question. Hold on. Let me think about it. Insult to injury. Insult to injury.
Nice.
But, I've really helped him a lot. She literally, her back is literally broken. Like she's in the hospital with a broken actual back.
Okay.
And Casey and I, my lender, we've been working with them for 2 or 3 years, kind of helping them, walking them through things, really kind of getting them in check for everything. And then they just knock me right out of the park, and I don't even get a chance to step up to the plate, which it sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, guys. Everyone has wins. Everybody has losses. Don't let those down. Don't let those losses take you down, especially in the first of the year. Keep your head up there.
Right.
You'll do just fine.
Well, we've got a lot of stuff to get into other than your loss of the day, Greg, which I'm sorry to hear about that. But let's take it in a more positive direction.
It's okay. I'm here with you now. Now it's okay.
Good. Now, because I can slap you. Good. All right. So let's bring in our special guest, Lauren Taylor. Lauren, how are you today?
I am wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Good. We're excited to have you.
Our pleasure.
So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into, but before we do, why don't you give people kind of an idea of where you're at, what you do, and kind of how big your team is or what it looks like.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So I'm here in Southern California. I started in the San Diego market. I will have been licensed for 4 years in February, so I'm somewhat of a newbie, I guess, by those standards. I broke into the top 1% in 18 months here in San Diego, largely by scaling my buyer side of the business. And then I brought on, I think we have 5 team members now, which I essentially convert from my computer and hand off. So I kind of pride myself that I sell houses I've never seen to people I've never met at this point. I've transitioned into the rainmaker position, I suppose you would call it.
Nice. Very cool. And so we've talked a little bit about this model where you mentioned just briefly that you basically convert them virtually, then you hand them over to agents. So just elaborate that on that a little bit just for the people that might not be familiar with what that looks like to run that as the rainmaker.
Absolutely. When I got started in the business, I had no idea how teams really worked. I mean, do you pay someone a salary? Do you pay someone a split? Like, where's really the value, the benefit? Mostly because I think building a pipeline came very natural to me. It wasn't a hurdle I had to overcome. So I think we all have our strengths. So when I found out that my strengths were really creating a pipeline and that I could find other people whose strengths were negotiating deals and closing deals, then it's like, well, this is the perfect partnership because we don't always have the same strengths, right? So I just decided to continue to focus my energy on building my pipeline because every time that I went to open doors, negotiate contracts, and do all these things, my pipeline would die off. And I became a victim of what we see with a lot of our agents, right? Where it's like your business is like 5 closed escrows, 0 closed escrows, 5 closed escrows, 0 closed escrows. So it's like, how can I get my time and space back so I can keep the machine running? And ultimately, for me, it always comes from helping more people. It's not really about a check, but so I can help more people. I mean, if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, can you help me?" I mean, my worst fear is having to say, "Nope, sorry, go find someone else."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not a good scenario. So I essentially recruited on 5 team members. I created a training panel for them. We have a social support group on Facebook. I help them. I basically bring in the clients, make them love us, connect them to my agents, and make sure that they handle them the way that I would if I was still opening doors.
Awesome.
I like that. You're working off your strengths. So many people always talk about to the fact that I got to work on my weaknesses. I got to get better at my weaknesses. It's like, look, if you want to spend time working on your weaknesses, that's your prerogative. But to be the most productive you can possibly be, do the things that you're the best at. Totally talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say that because I'm sitting here doing the thing I absolutely fucking hate, and that's doing follow-up calls. I'm like, I gotta get better at this. I'm like, damn it, I'm not even listening to my own advice.
I literally gasped when you said you're doing follow-up calls. That's just, I don't. And I actually started doing this based off of the book, Follow Your Strength, or Play Your Strengths. And they talk about Tiger Woods and about how he is one of the worst chip shots out of the bunker on the PGA Tour. And this was like 5 years ago when, Tiger was still really really on top. And they
Literally,
interviewed him about it, and he was like, "Hey, you gotta work on your chip shot. You gotta work on your chip shot." And he was like, "If you look at my numbers, I'm in the bunker 97% less than the tour. I think I need to work on my drive and stay out of the bunker more. That's his strength, right?" And I was like, that just makes so much sense to me. Like when people say you have to, you have to cold call and you have to door knock and you have to do all of these things to be successful. I always tell my agents that I coach and I work with, you don't have to do 100 things good. You need to do one thing great. And that will make you successful in this business.
Yeah, and the jack of all trades is the syndrome that kills you. Because you can't be great at everything. And I was talking this on the other podcast that Matt and I did, and I said, look, guys, you got to understand that all these people out there, Matt and I included, that have a platform. You know what? Just because we have a platform doesn't mean we do everything awesome. It means we fuck up 10 times more than anybody else. But a lot of people don't seem to want to air that out to the world and be real. They want to just show off the shiny, new, wonderful, I got it down perfect, part of their life. And I think that goes into saying that, like, look, with where you're going in business, if you're great, like I am fucking good at prospecting and calling and outbound, doing that. I'm really, really good at that. I'm not really good at doing paperwork. Okay, I'm really not. That's why I have an Eileen. Eileen is fantastic at doing paperwork and nitty-gritty stuff, and that's where she lives. So I don't try to get better at contracts. I get better at outbound prospects and scripts and, networking and anything in that arena. If I tried to do the paperwork, first off, I'd be like about 10 minutes into doing paperwork, so I wouldn't be productive at all.
So it'd just be horrible all the way around for the entire world. All right, I've got a question here that I think would be really good for you guys, but you guys know how. Well, I mean, Greg, you know how I feel about leaning into your strengths. That's one of my big focuses for this year is to do exactly that. So I'm 100% agreement. There's a couple of thoughts that I wanted to get from you guys on buyer agreements, because this is definitely one of the most controversial things that I run across in real estate when it comes to working with clients, which is, do you use them and how do you enforce them if you do use them? So Lauren, let's start with you. Buyer agreements, are you yay or nay on agreements?
I'm yay on it. I think that some of the fear that we get from agents is they don't know how to broach the conversation. And I'm a big believer in proven verbiage. And somehow I feel like Greg feels the same way, right? You have the same conversation so many times, it becomes natural. And the reality is that our consumers right now don't really know what to expect and how it works. And when you don't even make it a part of the conversation, they don't know what they don't know. Yeah. So, especially with the type of service that we offer, I talk about trading $20 goggles for $20,000 commissions, right? So it's about trading value for a service, and being comfortable broaching the conversation with your client as to why it's so valuable, why it does make sense for them to sign the agreement. Personally, I think that you're doing your client a disservice and yourself a disservice if you don't even have the conversation. Now, if you have the conversation, they turn it down, then it's up to you whether you choose to move forward or not. But I think every legitimate agent out there should at least be bringing up the conversation as to why it's in their and your best interest to sign the agreement.
I tried that once.
How'd it go?
Didn't work out. It didn't work out. It was like a bad first date. You're both sitting there awkward, and the silence.
So what makes the difference to you in terms of getting someone to sign a listing agreement versus getting someone to sign a buyer's agreement? Both of them are enlisting your services. One you just get for free.
Right. Very true. I guess, yeah, free, air quotes. But I mean, so the reason I have nothing against buyer agreements. I think they're a fantastic tool if you can get them done. The first time I tried it, first and only time I tried a buyer agreement, was I had just been told about it, and I had my handy-dandy file with my handy-dandy buyer agreement, walked into the conference room. Hi, sir. I want to talk about a document I need you to sign. And I didn't actually say that. But I told him what it was and asked him to sign it. No joke. Got up, didn't say a word. Got up, turned around, walked out the conference, walked out the front door, never looked back. I'm like, well, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And so I from that point on, what I do is I kind of do a judgment call with the client. If I don't trust them, if I was going to date a girl, and if I couldn't trust her to not cheat on me, there's no way that I'm going to date this chick. I don't care how hot you are. So, so I decided, like, I'm gonna run off a trail. Matt's like, it's a 10. 10 is
It's a sliding scale. It's a sliding scale. Let's put it that way.
Like, how successful, how rich is she?
That's exactly right. But I decided I'll just throw so much value up there up front, and I'll just harass the shit out of them, like constantly following up, constantly emailing. I've never really lost a client that I know of to another agent because of the lack of effort that I put in. But I think the buyer broker agreements are a phenomenal tool to protect you for all your work that you put in, because people can be people. I mean, talk about the people I was telling about earlier in the show that after 3 years of working with them, they just totally walked out and worked with their next door neighbor. Bullshit move. But that's what they did. And if I had something in agreement with them, they could probably have been protected, but we weren't at that level with them yet, so it wouldn't even have worked. But those documents are only as good as they can be enforced. I mean, how much do you want to go after the people for the money? Mm-hmm. So.
Well, and that was the other question on that, and I'm curious, Lauren, have you ever been in a circumstance where you even thought about having to enforce a buyer agreement, or does it just set the tone better for the relationship?
Good question.
I think it sets the expectation of a relationship better, number one. I have not had a situation where I've had to enforce a buyer broker agreement. I've had a situation where I've had to enforce someone stealing my client after the listing agent was at the property to show the home. He had set the whole house up with all of his, I don't want to name brokerages, but all of their brokerage information, if you will. And throughout the entire showing, he was crossing the line. He was completely crossing the line between agency. And I remember I was training a new agent on the showing. I turned to her after we left. I was like, just so you know, if you ever talk to someone like that, as a listing agent, you will be off my team. That was a complete breach of ethics. It was a private showing with my clients. I found out 3 weeks later that he had them reached out to them personally through finding their contact information on social media, and they actually opened escrow with him after he offered them $10,000 in closing costs to use him. Basically told them there's no way you can ever buy this house unless you buy it from me, and he was their neighbor. So to make this situation sweeter, I'm one of those people, unfortunately, that I can't not say something when it's wrong. I can't. I blame my mother. It's seriously hereditary. My poor husband. It's just I have to say something. Yeah, I do. So of course I went the full 9 yards. I went to the grievance committee. I think I was only 2 years in the business, and found out that his broker was up for broker of the year that year, and was also the head of the ethics committee. That being said, I was also offered something to drop the case at that point. I'm sad to say that my mentors who have been long in the business did warn me, and maybe this is a different show, but warned me if I decide to continue to pursue it and made a big, snuff about it, that I may be blacklisted, and that it would probably be in my best interest to just take the offer and walk away. And I mean, I'm supporting my family here. I have 3 kids under 6. I can't afford to get blacklisted or whatever the heck that means. So yeah, I'm sad to say that I backed down. I didn't go for the full commission. I took the offer and walked away.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes, you made your point, and go with God, my daughter.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You have to decide how much energy is worth it to bring negativity upon yourself. Are you going to gripe about this for years? For me, it was never about the money. It was about the principle. It was about the fact that we, subscribed to a board where we agreed to hire ethics, and you broke that rule, you crossed that line, and now this is my job to bring that to someone's attention. So at least that was done.
Good. Well, someone needs to say that.
Come on podcasts like this and just blast the hell out of it. So
let's say his name, his brokerage, and
everything.
Yeah,
let's
do this.
Exactly.
Let's burn him at the cross.
He really did. 2 years into the business, honestly, I haven't done it yet. As you can tell, I've probably been a little busy. But it really got me motivated I really want to make it a part of my career soon, very soon in the future, to become a part of the ethics committee. Because if the ethics committee in our communities are run by brokers who are 30 years in the business and 20 years in the business, then you get someone like myself who's 2 years in the business and that fear, right? You're going to get people not coming forward because there's fear. We need to have a balance between newer agents in the business and people who are controlling the pipelines. That's just my opinion.
Well, very true. I mean, this is the year of change. Harvey Weinstein, thank you very much for being a douchebag. Change is happening to the entertainment business and to the real estate. Yeah. Up with the people, down with the corporations.
Oh, my God. All right. So let's dive back into the kind of the buyer conversation of how to scale up the business. So I'm curious, Lauren, if you want to share kind of what your journey was going back to, like you said, you've got 3 young kids, so you had a specific reason for wanting to scale. You wanted to make more money. You still wanted to have some flexibility to move around your family schedule and things like that. So I think there's a lot of people out there that are watching and listening that are in the exact same position. I mean, that's why real estate draws a lot of people that want to have that kind of lifestyle. So what were some of the challenges that you ran into that kind of caused you to go down the path of scaling up and starting to bring agents on and things like that? What are some of the things that you ran into?
So, the irony is that we all get into business and real estate, right? I think a big motivating factor, like you said, is I get unlimited income and I get control of my own schedule.
Right.
And then you find out, oh, wow, this is really hard. There's a lot of competition. It's going to be hard to earn that income. And not only that, but you are on everyone else's schedule except for your own. It's okay, so title and escrow are only open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5. Largely lenders are that way too. Sometimes they'll answer your call after hours. Sellers don't want to show their properties and stuff on the weekends. Your clients, if they're buying a house, are probably working. So guess what? They're not going to be leaving work for 2 to 3 hours at a time on a Tuesday to go see homes. They want to see them in the evening or on the weekends. And when I started, it was fine, right? Because you close in 1 deal a month, happy to spend a weekend or two helping families house hunt. But, it's almost impossible to scale the buyer pipeline as traditional agents do it today, unless you wanted to build a team. But for me, I scaled it before I brought on my team. I scaled my own business, and I showed them how to do it through the use of video as well. Greg, you were talking about your strength, right? Is outbound prospecting. My strength is inbound prospecting. So creating resources that bring people to me. I do a lot of crowdsourced communities on social media, like Facebook and things like that. And what I really had to do was, okay, if I have 4 buyers, right? So that's probably the most that you can fit into a weekend. So what happens to buyers 5 and 6? Am I really going to hand off 30% of my commission to someone if I could help them, but I just don't have the time to help them this weekend? Mm-hmm. And if you're not available, what's going to happen? Yeah, they're going to go find someone who is.
Yes, and then you lose 100% of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just started changing the conversation. I really remember my first client I had. They wanted to see a property on Saturday. It was Tuesday. I think it was my son's birthday party, and I was like, "There's no way. I can't make that choice." Which are choices we're faced with all the time, right? You either have dinner with your family or you go show the home, keep the client. And so I remember I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go there right now. The house is vacant. I'm gonna call a listing agent. My client can't make it with me. Do you mind if I create a basic walkthrough video for them? Because the irony is that many of us know before we ever take clients to properties whether or not they're going to make an offer, right? It's this is kind of outside of your spectrum, but I want to provide you good service. It's a little bit far-fetched, right? So I created the video, I sent it to my clients, and they're like, oh my God, perfect. Not worth our time. We hate the floor plan, would never write an offer. And like these light bulbs just went off in my head. I was like, why am I not creating this additional filter for all my buyers? What used to take me 30 minutes to an hour on a Saturday just took me 15 minutes on a Tuesday. I could like change my whole business model. And that's really where the scalability started. I mean, house hunting is the first largest activity that has been unscalable up until this point. 90% of your viewers right now, they have the same conversation every single week. Great, you like those 12 properties on the MLS? What works best for you, Saturday or Sunday?
Yep.
And so I just changed the conversation. I was like, great, you like those 12 properties? By tomorrow, I'm going to have video walkthroughs of each of those properties, a virtual showing for you of each of those properties, upload to you, and let me know which ones are worth your time to see in person. So I started cutting the time I was spending in person with each client by essentially a third. And then those showings on the weekend turned into second showings, not first showings. And that was really my first step towards scaling the buyer side of the business, was tackling the opening doors aspect of it.
That's a fantastic. You know, I did. Have you guys moved into Facebook Lives on those properties at all? If you friend the client on Facebook and then do a personal Facebook Live to them?
So we started actually with FaceTime. So there's people out there right now. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready. Like I already do this. I FaceTimed my client last week. We started with FaceTime, and then we found like all of the limitations of FaceTime, right? And let's talk about them. Number one, I do work with some military families. So like Japan at noon is like 3 a.m. here. Like that's not going to work sometimes. Wi-Fi can be spotty. If you walk into a property, you have to like spin around in circles to like show them all the angles. It's very awkward. And we had situations where our clients are like, that was awesome. I wish we could see the kitchen again. Well, Facebook Live is awesome because it logs it, right?
But FaceTime not so much.
But like Facebook or FaceTime in general, it doesn't. Yeah. So when we realized that there was like those limitations, we were like, okay, there's got to be a better way. And then we started going to pre-recorded videos. Because one of the things that we found is, wow, like so Matt, you work in Mira Mesa, right? And if you have like a strong place where you have like inventory or you have a buyers that fit a specific niche, right? So let's say your buyers typically fall between like the $600,000 and $700,000 price point within Mira Mesa, Poway, and Scripps Ranch. So those are all cities in San Diego, by the way. Well, what happens if you do a FaceTime Live for one client and then you want to share it with another client, but you kind of want to firewall it? You don't really want to make this public because it's not your listing. Anyway, so we started to pre-record the video, so that way it was like, well, if the Joneses pass on it, well, maybe the Smiths are interested in it. And obviously with the listing agent's approval, we started opening escrow with those second clients. So that was the second way that we started scaling the business. All of a sudden, someone else's trash became someone else's treasure, just by simply providing or creating something that could be reused now versus an in-person showing that only happens once.
I really like that. One man's treasure is trash is another man's treasures versus the trash, and I think that's really an important thing to think about. One of the tools that we decided to start coming out and using, this is the Insta 360. Oh, girlfriend!
Greg, I'm going to send you some goggles after this video, and you're going to get 5 buyer's contracts with 5 goggles. And you're going to be like, oh my God, this works.
You mean like these goggles? Like these?
You mean like these goggles?
It's a dork fest! Yes!
Oh, guys, this was not good.
I swear I never thought I'd be like a technology person. Like, it still does sound to me that like I own. I don't even know how that happened.
You know what? I have a better pair of goggles.
I was sick and tired of missing soccer games and birthday parties. Literally.
See, but what you did there is something that's so powerful. You went and you life hacked yourself. You figured out a way how to not spend so much time spinning wheels and not touching pavement because it is a pain in the balls to go out and show a property. It's summer, it's hot, you're sweating, you'd rather be at the pool. These clients are driving you nuts because everything doesn't work for them, but you're gonna go out because you're a good agent. Boom, done. No more. Just show them what they actually want to have a second showing, then write a contract. And it took you, and it's kind of fun. You're out there kind of, out and about. And if it doesn't work out for anybody, you can post it on social media and say, hey, guys, take a look at this great property. You look like you're a rock star in the marketplace. You look like you know what you're doing with technology, but you're bringing value to your clients first and foremost. The listing agent's not going to hate on you because you don't say it's your listing. You say, look, at here is a great listing that is here in the area for sale.
Yeah, and we get confirmation from our listing agents. A lot of people, are sitting back right now. It's like people let you video their listings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they want to sell the house. They literally say, my clients can't make it. Do you mind if I create a virtual showing of the property? Absolutely. Hey, in the event that these people don't want to make an offer on your home, I have a network of about 500 buyers who are looking in this area. Would you mind if I shared that with them also to see if anyone else would be willing to make an offer? Great. Like, who would say no to that? Someone who doesn't want to sell the house.
Right.
Yeah, exactly right. I did a Facebook Live on video. This is, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something, right when they first started letting us really do it, right? And the other agent was named Lauren, kind of weird. But I just grabbed my Smart Lav microphone, clipped that sucker to my shirt, started shooting around the house. Didn't even tell her I was doing it. Actually, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I said, Lauren, stay right here. I'm going to go do a Facebook Live about your house, and I'm going to interview you. She's like, what? So I go through the house, show everybody the house. It's a really cool house. Then I come back up, and I interview her. And I do a horrible job. I mean, I couldn't keep the camera straight. I'm filming her boobs half the time, completely not on purpose. Then I'm filming like the roof, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to do the mic and the camera. And I thought she was going to hate me for this. She hit me up later that night via Facebook and goes, oh my God, Greg, that video was amazing. Can I get a link so I can send to all my friends and family? And I'm like, yeah, here it is. Go. And you know what? I've never had another agent get upset. I mean, there's a few agents that are douches that are going to get mad or won't let you film the house or whatever. You're going to fail a few times. But, I mean, Lauren, how many people have said no to you?
We've been doing this for 2 years. I have a network of almost 100 agents who are using this system at this point. We're just snowballing come tomorrow. But we've had 2 people say no. We have one lady, just so you know, and I'm sure she'll comment on this, who's like in Virginia, who's like, this is completely against our MLS. You have to get written permission from the seller, written permission from the agent. I'm like, do you actually call these agents? I text them. I'm like, hey, and I have it in writing that they said yes. And if it's within their contract, if they have to approve it from their seller, that is their problem, not mine. Like
she probably still has a rotary phone.
Fine. They confirm that I can do this. Here you go. Copy, paste, keep it until the video's dead.
Oh, man. And I wipe my hands of you crotchety old broad. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no kidding. Good Lord.
What's
our mission here?
Fails. She comes on, she'll post that in the comments. So just wait. She's like, you can't do that, Virginia. And I'm like, I have 15 agents in Virginia doing it.
All right, we do have a great question. We have a great question, a great comment. So Paul Franklin says, Greg, HR is on the phone regarding your filming practices. So that was very, very funny. I'll be expecting you to be carried off and see your imprisonment in the press. But Kathy Sparks has a good question for you, Lauren. When do buyers use the goggles? When does that come into play?
So we exchanged $20 goggles for $20,000 commissions, right? So our median price point may be a little bit higher here in San Diego. But when we have the first initial buyer's consultation, so this is actually another way that I started scaling the buyer business. So you get a call from someone, they come in through your funnel, they come into your community, whatever it is, what's the first thing you do? You touch base with them, right? I do all of my initial buyer contacts just like this, via video. I am not driving out to your home to meet with you and your family for an hour and a half unless you've seen me on video for at least 15 minutes and we've been able to connect like this. You want to know why? Because within 15 minutes, they're going to be able to know if they like you or not. If they don't like you, that hour is a waste of your time.
Yes, it is.
And it's just not worth it. I was a financial advisor before I was a real estate agent. I got licensed like the day that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac went under in 2008. It was a rough time. But that being said, I had no constraints on my time. I didn't have a family at that point. I didn't have a husband. I was single. I was right out of school, and it was like, whatever. I'll make that drive for them to no-show me. No, that is not happening. I've never been no-showed in real estate. I've never been no-showed. I've never been canceled on the last minute because I take more value in my time. So my second way that I scale the buyer business is by doing initial calls like this. So they know how I work before I even get there. And if they're not interested in working within my system, then they should probably work with a system or an agent that works with another system. You don't have a lot of people walking away. That being said, when we do meet with them in person the first time, I just give them the goggles. Or if they're not in the area, for instance, San Diego is a big military hub, right? We do our initial contact like this, and I ship them the goggles right from San Diego. So it comes right to their door. So basically how it works is, like Greg was saying, right? So you say you have these 12 properties you're interested in. I'm out and about on a Tuesday. I go create the videos for you. Our software program actually works as the intermediary. It's the landing page, the medium, if you will, for these programs. So we went and dug some VR developers out of their mom's basements because it's still a little new, legitimately, to make sure that our clients could have like a solid quality experience. So for our agents, it's super simple. They go into the property, they click this little bad boy on their iPhone. You can do it without your iPhone, but let's not me on here. So they click on their iPhone, they download it to their phone, they upload it into our portal, and they copy paste that link into their client's portal, which is basically a virtual private house hunting space. Once it's in the portal, their clients can watch it as many times as they want in both the 360 pull and play, which is basically where you can like pull the screen, or if they're on their iPad, they can move the screen around, and then also they can put it into goggle mode, jump in their goggles and jump in the house.
Yeah, I just put a link here for $20 goggles at Best Buy. So they are real. I mean, Lauren, I was like,
real. Or you could buy $20 Savvy Homes Portal goggles that are U.S. made, and they're wonderful. They have awesome lenses that work wonderfully. And, oh gosh, I wish I had them.
We'll have to put a link in there.
One of the things that happened right after we launched is, of course, we started getting messages from a whole bunch of agents because, you know, we're an ego-driven business, right? Like, that's great, Lauren. Like, you have branded goggles for your company, but I work for Remax, and I want Remax goggles. So we actually have custom branded goggles for our agents as well. It's true. People want their team logos. People want their email addresses. So they're the exact same goggles that I just showed you, but they're completely customized to your team, your brokerage, your logo, your information.
You guys need to. We'll put a link in here for that for you, Lauren, because I mean I think say the URL one more time, please.
So it's www.savvyhomesportal.com, and if you go through the links there, it'll take you through a demo and kind of walk you through everything. You can also find everything off our Facebook page, which is Savvy Homes Portal Virtual Reality House Hunting. Generally, if you go to Google at this point and type in Virtual Reality House Hunting, it's all my stuff. So you can find us anyway through there, and pictures of our custom goggles, which are, I mean, they're the best business card you're ever going to have.
Oh, yeah.
My agents always ask me, and I'll tell you, Matt, right now, there's someone in the comments saying, well, do you let them keep the goggles? Tell me someone asked that.
Yes.
Like, yes. I will give you $20 goggles for $20,000 commission all day long. If you
I don't know. That sounds sketchy to me. That sounds unsustainable. I don't know if I can spare that $20.
Yeah, but no, the thing about this is that
I got a meal at Applebee's tonight that's calling my name.
The thing is that virtual reality is definitely something that is on the horizon. I mean, it is coming. It's basically here, but once it goes fully mainstream, what Lauren is doing is going to be the new norm.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any more driving people around when their kids are sticking their sticky little fingers against your windows and playing with your locks and up and down window play. So annoying. I had a little kid do that. I wanted to smack the spit out of him. But, it's just going to be showing up to the house. Okay, we've looked at it. My wife and I have looked at it a couple hundred times. We want to confirm that, that it's exactly what we see in the video. Great. Let's buy. Time hack, life hack, and really making yourself.
You mentioned that when we first connected, is that one of the objections that you hear most of the time in working with buyers is they get to the house and this house doesn't look like the photos I saw, which it's funny. That's the flip side of the problem that we hear most of the time on the listing side, which is that these pictures suck, so my home didn't sell. Right, and then your value prop is great. We're going to come in and so we're going to take amazing photography. So you're saying you run into the opposite problem, which is that the photography is so amazing that they then get to the house and then it doesn't look like the photos. The photos made the house look that much better.
Yeah, I mean, you have like HD real photography. We have wide angle lenses at this point. People like adjust the color scheme and everything like that. Filters. I mean, I would love to say that doesn't happen, but remember, I mean, we are hired to represent two separate sides, right? So what's in the best interest of a seller isn't always what's in the best interest of a buyer. Right. You're hired as a seller, and people are like, well, why don't I just use the virtual tour that's created by the listing agent? Well, you can. You absolutely can as an additional filter, but the reality is that people want the nitty-gritty. Even some of these other VR companies that create virtual reality tours, they almost look so digitally enhanced, they don't look real. So it's like people don't really trust them. Otherwise, people would have been making offers off of those a long time ago. But when I'm walking through it and I'm saying, hey, Matt, I know you wanted an open floor plan, but if you look to your left here, this wall is definitely load bearing and we would need to bring in a contractor here to look at. Not only are they getting the authentic, actual view and showing of the home, the same that they would have in person, but they're getting it from the person that they trust, the person that they wanted to hear their opinion from anyway. If they're just browsing for houses online, they can do that anywhere. So a lot of the questions that we've been getting is like, well, gosh, what if one of these large listing platforms just jumps in and like swoops and stuff? Yes, it's very possible, which is why us as agents should definitely step up and change the game and take this about being an agent value, just not a value period. Right. But that being said, our platform is nothing without our agents. If our agents if you upload just a generic virtual tour, you're not going to have the same type of a response, the same type of offer activity that you would is if you were to go out and create one with yourself in it, talking to your client. This is a virtual showing. It's not a virtual tour.
Mm-hmm. That's a really key piece. It's a virtual tour, not a virtual show. Virtual showing, not a virtual tour.
Which largely the verbiage virtual showing hasn't existed up until now. Yeah. So that's the other thing. That's the hurdle that we're coming over right now. And I tell my agents, we have two big hurdles, right? You have to explain to people, number one, that it exists, and number two, that it works. So I think we're getting to the point now. Coldwell Banker just came out with an article today. It's like consumers are ready for virtual reality. So we're getting to the point where people are starting to understand that it exists and how it can be easily implemented to the agent's life. Now it's just our job to show them that it would benefit them and it benefits their buyers.
Well, I did almost the same thing because one of my clients, he works in the San Francisco, and his schedule is just bonkers. And he could never come out and see a house, right? And then the house was sold, and then he got disappointed. So I'm like, this was last summer. I'm like, dude, why don't we just do a FaceTime and I'll just show you the property? He's like, you think that'll work? And I'm like, yeah, I think it will. And I just had him on the phone. I had him on FaceTime, and we walked through the property. Then we went back and he confirmed what was in the home. Ultimately, it didn't work out for him because what we couldn't see on camera is that golf balls flew into the patio because he's on a golf course. So that part wasn't caught on camera, but it was very cool. He really liked it. He thought that was a really cool thing. It saved him a ton of time. He could take 10 minutes, stay in his office, not take calls, look at the video, make a determination. Because he lived in South San Fran, which is like on the other side of the bay, like an hour away. So it just didn't make any sense for him. So try it, guys. I bet you anything your clients will be blown away with. Wow, my agent's really tech savvy. And you'll save them time and you'll save you time. Mm-hmm. Lauren, I think I got to pick up some of those goggles because I love that idea.
And I love the idea of scaling out, first of all, by doing the initial call with them over video. And it's going to get more predominant, but I wish it was more predominant already because you're absolutely right. I mean, from their perspective as a buyer or seller, they probably know, I mean, forget 15 minutes. They know within 60 or 90 seconds, really, if they want to work with you, or at least we can disqualify most people in that amount of time. Whether they want to work with you the exact way that you want to work and whether they want to fit into your system after they already like you, that's another story. But we can tell pretty much instantly if we are going to like and connect with somebody. It'd be really nice to get that out of the way right off the bat. When it comes to hiring, a buddy of mine is doing that where he brings in interns for his marketing company, and their first step in the interview process is they have to go on to Spark Hire, and it has a video survey for them to take where they have to hop on their computer and through the webcam, and it records a video of them answering these 3 or 4 questions. So you instantly get a sense of, can this person talk? Can they talk on the phone? Do they present themselves well? Do they, what's their thought process like? Do they come across as likable? Just all those things that you get within 30 or 60 seconds of just watching somebody on video. So I think that is definitely the way of the world, and you can see it coming in all these different areas. And it's interesting that it's taken this long to get there, but I love that you started there and that's built into your process. I think we could easily do that on the listing side too.
Oh, I resell listings all the time with video. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because they say 30 seconds of video is worth 1.8 million words. So if a word is worth a word, and a picture is worth 1,000 words, 30 seconds is worth 1.8 million words. So if you are an agent who's going to write a description of a property, that's your value, right? If you're an agent who's going to send them pictures of a property, that's your value, right? Let's say you send them 8 pictures, that's 8,000 value points.
Yeah.
Well, if I send them a 5-minute video, you can't even compete.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, it's funny because I learned this actually from my good girlfriend, Tam Gonzalez. She's an agent for HomeSmart out in Las Vegas. Awesome girl, with a beautiful wife, tattooed up and down, like total mohawk, just awesome girl. But she was the one who told me, she's like, look, like I do all my interviews via video first because quite honestly, I don't fit into a lot of people's like idea of what I should be after they don't see me in person. And I don't want, if they don't like me, then I want to get them out of my sphere as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I'm a little bit of a cookie cutter, frumpy mom of 3, but like I like to apply the same thing, right? It's like, you know, if you're going to be interviewing someone for your position, if you're looking for team members, if you're looking for, if you're looking for a nanny, any of those places where you're looking at skimming through like resumes and things like that, ask them for a 30-second clip it of why they would be best for that position, and you'll be blown away, and you will realize why you should be doing that for your own clients.
You know what? I really like that idea, and I didn't know that it was such a substantial amount, substantial difference. You know, 1.8, well, 30 seconds is worth 1.8 million words.
Yes. So like one of our trainings, so we could actually transition this to the listing conversation because a lot of our agents ask, right, like, well, this is awesome for buyers. It's great for scaling buyers. And there's tons of resources we've put in place, like canned messages that we as agents say all the time, right? It's like, great, it's time to write an offer, blah, 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 blah. This is 3,000 words about how we write an offer, and we have that conversation on the phone. But how can we put that into a canned message so we can, you know, standard language works every time, right? Answers the majority of the questions, and then follow up based on the message you receive in your portal. Do you have any additional questions for me? At that point, usually the answer is no. So I've saved myself a 30 or 45-minute conversation that I've had so many times by giving them the resource that they need up front and then following up on the resource versus doing it flip-flopped. Oh, it's like, oh, that's a great question. Let me send you something. No, let me send you something and then let me come to you. But on the listing side, we've seen the same in terms of locking in listings. So you get a call, right, Greg? You had a potential client today. So sign up for a portal. It's, for us, is a virtual house hunting space, right? It sets up a buyer or seller username and password. Now you're both in a private space, a space that's outside of email, it's outside of social media, it's outside of phone calls, it's outside of text. It's completely about this one important topic in your life, right? And put the 5 most valuable pieces of information about yourself and selling a home. Number 1, 46 minutes of your best listing presentation. Like, don't hold back. You can't be scared they're going to share it with another agent. You're unique. You're you. Your strategies are yours. You can implement them. You have the track record, right? You use a social listing method like a Facebook ad. You know, show them the Facebook ad that you ran that had over 30,000 views and over 300 comments. What type of other agents are offering them that type of exposure? You can have a virtual listing presentation with them that we do regularly, and by the time we're showing up to their house, we're literally just confirming condition and putting a price on the home.
Love it.
I like that a lot.
Well, you can hold, 30 listing presentations a day versus.
Yeah, you're being able to really mass produce yourself. Another thought on this. Have you guys ever done this? This kind of just popped in my head, and I'm sure you have, and I'm behind the 8 ball on this. But reversing it, so instead of, doing a virtual showing for buyers, what about having a conversation with a potential listing? And instead of having to do 2 meetings, you do 1 meeting, because your first meeting is them doing FaceTime with you, them showing you the house. So you don't have to drive out there. You can see everything in there. So if they say they have granite and then they have tile granite, well, we got a problem. If they have hardwood, when they say we have hardwood throughout the house, but they're shredded because of the golden retriever playing ball in the house.
Yeah.
Looking around, we've got a
Absolutely.
huge backyard, and it's a postage stamp. I mean, taking a look at the neighborhood, the front of the house, but being able to go out and take a look at this thing, record it, and then you can review it as you're doing your comps, but you don't have to come out twice now anymore. I mean, you might want to, depending on how you want to do it, but I mean, talk about life hacking yourself. Now you can review the video, bring the numbers, and do the listing presentation. But if you use Lauren's system, they'll already have seen your listing presentation. They don't have to worry about it.
Use like a life hack. So the way that my system works is you take the phone call, right? You send them the value information, and then you have the video interview and doing it in person. So the value information is the same information every single time, except for the CMA on their property. So that's already ready to go. Like, it's pre-filled within portals. You just plug it in, change the name, send it out, get them in the portal, right? And then with the video interview, absolutely you can transition that. It'd be the same way if you and I right now, if you were considering hiring me to list your home, And you're like, great, Lauren, all that sounds awesome. I'm like, perfect. Well, let's get together on Saturday then. We'll finalize the number. Hey, if you have another minute, if you give me a brief tour, I can get a better idea of the condition of your property. Would that be okay? Like, why wouldn't you just carry the phone around? So people get in their own heads about what they think their clients are willing to do. But we jump through so many hoops as a society right now for convenience. Think about like Amazon Prime, think about Netflix. We want things that are systemized, that are standardized. And if it's going to save me time, energy, effort, and make me more money, why would I not want to do that? So one of the techniques I use with my buyers, both on my buyers and on my sellers, is by using some verbiage that I've kind of coined the phrase, all the cool kids, right? It's like you want them to understand that this isn't just them. They're not just unique. This is a system that you use with all of your clients. So, typically, once my clients feel like I could be a good fit, they want to give me a tour of their home so that way I can get a better idea of pricing. Would you be okay with that? Mm-hmm. Everyone else is doing it, right? This is my system. I'm showing you that everyone else has bought into the system and you should buy into it as well. So typically, my clients don't want to waste their luxury weekends. You work so hard during the week to go see homes that don't really work for them. Would you allow me to create virtual showings for you to filter your time so you're not wasting time seeing houses that don't work?
Yeah, they'll definitely do it. I mean, it's amazing. We're going that direction quickly. I mean, Matt and I joined EXP Realty. By the way, guys, go to Book McDaniel. It's right there on the screen. If you guys want to book time to talk about joining Matt and my team, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But EXP, the reason why we went there is because everything's digital, everything's virtual. I was telling someone today, I was talking to them about it, and they're like, so tell me why I should join it. I thought, why did I join them? And I'm like, what's the root reason? It's just easy. Everything is there. I don't have to travel anywhere. I can go get the information and visit with people, and I can stay right at my desk. Mm-hmm. And it's well, there's a lot of other reasons too, but the point is that it is going to be there. I mean, Lauren, you're on the leading edge of where real estate will be probably 24 months or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pushing fast.
The way technology is just leapfrogging over itself and just growing exponentially at this point in our lives. And it's going to be like we'll sit here in 24 months. We'll have totally different conversations about how to lead gen and how to do listing presentations. It'll be incredible. I mean, it went from like.
Lauren, we didn't get a chance to dive into it, but yeah, like you mentioned, Lauren, like where most of your leads coming from in terms of having community-based inbound lead generation. Like, yeah, I mean that's exactly where it's moving, because I feel like people are using that as the filter. They're putting up that filter against picking up the phone.
But it also becomes completely scalable. I can remember, like yesterday, I went to the Success Summit for Buffini and Company, which, by the way, I love EXP. We actually have been talking to you guys. Hopefully bring it to your agents. So, well, this is a great way to do it. I'm sure a lot of them want you. But anyway, I was at a Buffini conference. I'm sitting around the table with literally probably 12 people who do easily $150 to $200 million in business combined between all of us. And they were just talking about, oh my gosh, you guys, my life is so stressful. I it's great because I work by referral, so they're so strong. But it's like I'm calling people individually, one by one. I make 300 calls a day, and one they don't call me back. All these outbound issues you see, right, Greg? And I was sitting there with my partner in crime, Bethany. I call her my business bestie, and my life lobster. We're just kind of made. She's my executor. I'm the innovator. And
she's her lobster.
That's literally where it came from. I literally have a picture over here. It's like
I love Friends.
And I looked at her and I was like, I could literally blow these people out of the water, like blow their minds right now, because the effort that they're putting in, reaching out, if redirected, can be so much easier to bring people in. Meaning, one of the that has nothing to do with virtual reality house hunting, but one of the other scalable companies that I own is basically a savvy homebuyer program where we teach agents like yourself, like savvy San Francisco homebuyers, and you take our program, we give you all of the content that you need to get people coming inbound to you, getting them in one space where you can communicate with them, not 300 touches by calling each one of them 300 times, but by posting valuable information that we're looking for. Because our society is sick of being sold to. We get sold to constantly. If you can't bring value, then you're basically out of the running at this point. Yeah. So what it's done is create a huge drip system on social media for us that's feeding our agents' entire pipeline by very little effort based on our agents. So anyway, it was one of those exciting moments where I was like, oh my gosh, why are we still working like this? Like our clients barely even answer our phone calls unless they're in a deal with us because like, oh, okay, great, you called me. He wants a referral. I get it. Like, I'll send him a referral. I'll call him if we're going to buy and sell, right? The jig is up. They get what we want from them. Like,
The jig is up.
or we can like bring them value and then we'll bring people that we can bring value from there.
Yeah. I'm signing up for your program. I don't care what you say, Lauren. I'm signing up. Yes, I am.
Deal.
Oh man, Lauren, how do people sign up? Where do they go?
If you go to savvyhomesportal.com, you can sign up right there. There's a 7-day free membership. And if you go through that free membership, we actually do offer a starter kit that has 3 of these Savvy Homes goggles. It has a camera that fits your needs. Our system is completely not linked to any specific equipment. So basically, Greg, you already have your camera. That's awesome. You want to order those goggles off of Amazon? That's awesome. The only reason why we offer the starter kit is because I wanted to make it easier for agents who didn't want to go through the process of dealing with it and finding it on their own. So if you do go through that 7-day free trial, you get $50 off coupon for the starter kit, and you get our 28-day virtually unstoppable challenge, which is basically how are you going to tell everyone that you are offering this service and start building a pipeline directly from it. So what we found is our agents who follow this program for the first 28 days, by the end of it, have 3 to 5 clients lined up within their pipeline who, at a median price point of $215,000, would basically pay for our program for about 6 years. So it's not a bad return.
About 6 years.
Give or take.
No, but guys, seriously, I mean, honestly, go take a look at this. Be the first agent in your marketplace to sign up for this. And just FYI, guys, Lauren is not paying us a single dime or dollar. If she wants to, she can, but she's not, so she won't. But
I just didn't bring it up.
It's been brought up now.
We don't want to get paid every time we bring somebody onto the show.
No, we don't. We bring people on because, guys, we find people in our daily lives that are really value add human beings. Lauren is a tremendous value add, and what her company is doing is a value add. Be that guy, be that gal in your area that everyone's gonna be going like, how in the fuck did she go or he go from two deals last year to 25 deals this year? And I don't see that guy's always out on the baseball field. What's he doing?
Yeah, well, people say the same thing to me. They're like, weren't you just in Denver? Weren't you just in New York? Weren't you just in Hawaii? I'm like, yeah. And I was selling houses from Denver. We opened 3 escrows. Because here's the next step to scale your business. You get one of your teammates to create the virtual showings for you, and you just negotiate the deals. I mean, there's this whole system, guys. We got it all worked out for you, and that's the beauty. If you join the team and join the movement, you're not recreating the wheel. It's just all right there, ready to go. Because we already did the hard work.
Yeah, you really have. And you make it easy, and that's the most important part. People, when they're scared of one, technology, and then 2 of something new, if they have to take that extra half a step to find that new technology, oh, fuck it, dude, I'm out. No, yeah. I'll go back to doing, writing handwritten letters or do like I do, doing calls and do the hard shit when it could be a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's the commitment I can make if, when I started and I made that line, I drew that line in the sand for myself, right? It's like, okay, I'm not going to show a property in person before someone sees it on video first. I want this to be in a filter because it protects them and it protects me. And once I drew that line in the sand and I saw the benefits in my personal life, first of all, I work 85% less weekends than most realtors, and my clients find their home in 85% less time because they're filtering themselves through virtual showings. I never wanted to go back. It's that first step that's the hardest step. But if you step in, you log in, and you set up your first portal, and you set up your first client, and you video one property, forget the 360, just go with your phone. Mm-hmm. Just start small and say, this works, and then get the 360 camera. It works just as easily. You won't want to go back.
Well, then you go to the whole other, shifting of a mindset. Like you said earlier, go pay someone $50 to go shoot the damn house. Now you're not even going out. Now everything's just coming in. You're just the fat cat sitting on the couch eating Cheetos. Yeah. As the deals happen. The
fear that our clients and our agents have right now that they're hearing is like, well, will I lose value because I'm not spending time with them face to face? But I want to actually challenge that because it's a proxy that's completely been blown out of water. Greg and Matt, you guys are a great example, right? EXP brings you great value. How many of those people have you met face to face? A lot of them you only know socially, right? Or you only know like this.
Yep.
How would this experience be different for you as a viewer right now is if you were sitting in a conference room with me? You would still get the same value. You would still feel like you know me because we're conditioned to really be drawn to people that we see on screen. But now I'm not only bringing you value, I'm saving you time. And that's something that our consumers have not been able to get in the house hunting experience yet.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you have to teach them to value their own time.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly. Now, maybe not in Greg's area where it's a little bit more entrepreneurial and people are working for Silicon Valley companies. I think, Greg, I don't know if you deal with that quite as much, but I know in the Midwest, I think there's more of a mentality of, we'll just jump in the car for 2 hours and we expect you to be with us every step of the way. And you almost have to sometimes teach people how to value their own time. Like, no, wait a minute, you don't have to do that. Like, I can just send you something that you can review in 10 minutes after you get home while you're on your laptop, and you can immediately tell me which one of these 10 homes you like. And then let's go see that one. It takes you a half hour, and you can do it in between the grocery store and baseball practice. And you don't have to make an afternoon of it. I think people are conditioned to expect that, and so they expect that out of agents, and we just go along with it because that's the way we've always done it. And what I love about what you've done, Lauren, is you just basically said, that may be the way it's been. That doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. And then you figured out a way, but it starts with kind of just having that solution or the mindset of there is a solution. I may not be aware of what it is yet, but I'm going to go find it and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to tell people what the solution is, and they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean that like back in the old days. I mean, everyone would get in your car and you would drive them around. Because now you need to get the big Mercedes or the big vehicle to put all the kids, those fucking kids, man. Evil little sticky fingers just all over the windows.
That was the best sound effect for sticky fingers I've ever heard, Greg. All right, let's stop there before the show
the thing is that like people aren't even getting in my car anymore. They would rather follow me.
Don't
I know.
SRT8.
Oh God!
How dare they?
Because they want to experience it on their own terms, right? Like they are following you behind you. They feel bad, right? It's like, oh, Greg brought us to this house. Maybe we chose it. Maybe he chose it for us. And now we don't want to tell him that house sucked and that he just wasted our time. So when we get back in the car, honey, I need you to tell me we agree, right? Like that house was horrible and we'd never buy it. And now we're going to tell Greg when we get to the next house, hey, that last one, not so great. Right? We agree. Okay. But
you kind of screwed the pooch.
They need their space to experience it. Now you're just giving them their space to experience it with a glass of wine on their couch, which to me sounds so much more enjoyable. We have done a design program in Los Angeles purely to escape traffic schedules. He was like, look, this sounds awesome. I totally want to do virtual reality house hunting, but more than anything, I'm sick of spending 3 hours in my car during rush hour to show up to showings when only my clients can make it. And he's just like lounging on the beach now because he's so thrilled that he hasn't sat in rush hour since he joined.
Hey, I'm with you, man. EXP has allotted me the opportunity to sit my ass right here in my house, do all my work from my house. Traffic, rush hour makes this chills up and down my backbone just erupt in anger.
I refuse to do it at this point.
Oh, I'm never doing it again.
If you want to meet me at 6:30 on a Thursday, like we're probably not going to work well.
I haven't had a commute in years. I don't plan on having one anytime soon. All right, so SavvyHomesPortal.com, homes with an S, SavvyHomesPortal.com. So check that out. And then, Greg, how do people connect with you and us?
Guys, Matt and I are super pumped. Guys, we joined EXP Realty like I've talked about before. If you guys want to learn about EXP and our team and what we're doing, we have a metric shit ton of value that's extra, not just going to be what EXP is going to be bringing to you, but what our team is going to be bringing to you when you join our team. It is national. We are going to focus a lot in California with some special things that can happen just in California because of, laws. But national, guys, if you guys want to join us, give us a call, or don't give us a call. BookMcDaniel.com. Go to BookMcDaniel.com. It is on the screen right now. Book 30 minutes, and let's have a talk about what you're thinking, what you're doing, where you're going, how we can help you build your business, your team, because we're going to help you put people on your team as well. Guys, let's face it. Dude, we all want free time. Lauren just showed you how to have more free time, and we all want residual income. That is what building a team does. If you do it right and work with what Matt and I and the resources that we have, we will show you one of our good friends at the show. He's going to open up his kimono, and he's going to show you how to build a massive, massive team. Next year, his team's going to do 1,000 deals. So if you guys think you can do that, we will plug and play you with the guy, the master, the genius, behind the curtain that has done it and he can show you how to do it. And that's just one of the things we have to offer. So go there, bookmcdaniel.com, and we will get this party started. Matt, I know they can get 15 minutes with you. How do they do it?
It is 15.bookjohnson.com, and the reason you would want to do that is that if you need an impartial second opinion on what the next step is for you in your career. So we have a lot of people that watch or listen to the show that see the coaches and see the people that we have on the show that have some sort of association. They have either a product to sell or some information, maybe a software service, whatever the case is, and they're not quite sure if that's where they want to go, if they want to invest in that, or if they want to take the next step and hire a coach, or if they want to buy a program or our program. Whatever the case is, if you would need an impartial second opinion on any of that, feel free to grab a slot on my schedule. They are very limited, so just go to 15.bookjohnson.com for that. And then, guys, for our free training on how to do exactly what we do on Facebook Live so that you can, like Lauren talked about, take the same amount of time that you have right now doing outbound calls to either, cold neighborhoods or people in your sphere, for example. If you can get the same interaction and the same amount of lead flow by giving them valuable content, we would recommend that you do it on Facebook Live and then supplement that with other strategies like what Lauren was talking about with Facebook groups and different things like that. So the foundation of that for us is Facebook Live. So if you want a free training on how to do that, go to GoLiveOnFacebook.com, and we really go deep into the types of content that you can do on Facebook Live, where to get ideas for content, how to do them off the cuff with very little preparation, and all that good stuff. So go there, GoLiveOnFacebook.com. And then for the show, just subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube if you want the audio or video versions. And Greg, let's put a nice little bow on this one.
All right, Lauren, you're an amazing asset to this real estate community. Thank you for taking the time to come onto our show. You have blown some people's heads. There will be emergencies piling up with brain hemorrhages because of this show. Thank you very much for your time. And Matt, as we always say, peace out, ninjas. We go.